Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, the Bronson Sky Library. So today I thought I would do a bookshelf tour because I recently just bought some more books, and by recently I mean yesterday. I went to Barnes & Noble and I bought myself like 3 books. I bought myself The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and then I bought myself this book called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And then I also bought myself a book called Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. Plus, I got myself a little bookmark, a Ted Lasso bookmark, because I love Ted Lasso. And if you can see, like, you can probably just barely see it, like, the bottom of, like, the frame. Anyway, or the top of the frame. Anyway, there's books on the very, very top of my bookshelf. They're books that I have bought throughout the year, and I just don't have a place for them yet. And I was going to do a bookshelf tour like at the very beginning of the year, because usually I always get books for Christmas. I mean, it's inevitable, and for my birthday. It's inevitable. So I was going to, at the beginning of January, I was going to reorganize my bookshelves, and I was going to do a like before and after, and do like another bookshelf tour. Because I've done a bookshelf tour before, but this one was going to be like a second one, and it was going to be like, you know, reorganized, whatever. I'm repeating myself. But I never got around to doing that. Like, I did do it, but I didn't edit the video or anything, and so I never got a bookshelf tour out. And now that I have like all of these books around, and I just want my room to be a little less cluttered, because I really enjoy my room to not be so cluttered and stuff. I love being in a clean room. After I clean my room, I just like enjoy it. I'm like, it feels so nice being in my room because it's clean. I actually want to be here. So I want to, and I mean, the books aren't clutter necessarily, but the books are cluttered. They're just like everywhere right now. And so I really want to just like reorganize and all of that. And then I also want to take you along with me. So hopefully you guys enjoy this bookshelf tour, and I don't know how to transition, but let's go. Okay guys, here's my before. There's my like TV shows, movies. Here's like my literary fiction and stuff like that. And then my sci-fi books, and then, yeah, still sci-fi. And then here's like the start of my fantasy and a couple other things. But yeah, here's my fantasy stuff so far. There's like my little shrine to The Nightmare Before Christmas down there. Some more fantasy. And then, as you can see up top, there's books that I have bought throughout the year and just don't have a place for. I did try to put, because like I bought those books up there, I tried to give them a place, but then I put those right there and never put them right there with those. So, you know, let's not talk about how I am lazy. There's my Sanderson, Schwab, some more fantasy, and then some religious texts down there, and then some like nonfiction and like photography books down there. So yeah, I mean, it's not too bad right now, but that is what I am wanting to organize. And there's like also, sorry, the camera moves a lot. There's also books down there that I've bought, that don't have a place as well. And then over here I have, sorry the lighting, but I have my desk that is full of clutter that I absolutely hate. So anyway, we are going to get this stuff organized. Alright guys, let's begin. I'm about to organize. So, yay. First, I gotta get some music playing so I can get pumped up. So, alright, let's go. Alright, pausing my bookshelf organization to tell you, I bought this book recently as well. It's Crazy Rich Asians, and the reason why I bought it is because I really want to read the book, and then I want to watch the movie and like do a compare and contrast analysis video for you guys on this book. I want to do that with a ton of books like Lord of the Rings. Jeez. Sorry about the lighting. I want to do that with Lord of the Rings. I've been talking about that for a while, but I also want to do that with like The Hunger Games or like just like any book that has like an adaptation to it. I want to do it. So I want to do that with Crazy Rich Asians. So I bought it, and I know my sister-in-law loves that movie. Like it's like one of her favorite movies. So I also want to do that because of my sister-in-law. So anyway, back to reorganizing. Alright guys, I'm in a little bit of a pickle. I was thinking of doing like, you know, what I usually do, just do literary fiction / just fiction in general, and then do my science fiction, and then do my fantasy. But I don't know if I want to separate the books into like YA, middle grade, adult, with all of the genres, but I mean, that seems like kind of difficult, you know, to like keep track of. Like I'm always someone who like, at first I just like put all of the books in my bookshelves without like separating them into genre, and I just did like alphabetical order. Now I like separate it into genre and do alphabetical order. Now I'm thinking of like doing it like middle grade and then YA and then adult, but I also don't know if I want to do that because I already like finished like sections of things, and I finished the like fiction section, so yeah, I don't know what I want to do now. I mean, I go to work in like a few hours, so I feel like it's kind of pointless to switch tactics now, so yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. My bookshelves. Not sure how I feel about them, but I'm not gonna reorganize them. They're probably gonna just stay like this until I reorganize them the next time. But I mean, they're not bad. It's just there's something that I'm like not liking. I think it might be the fact that I have something on like my top shelf, like the very, very top, and I'm not liking the aesthetic of it. That's probably what it is. But I mean, I didn't know how else to organize everything without like getting rid of like stuff. Like, I don't have room in my room, so like I didn't know how to like organize it to the point where I'd have to like, where I wouldn't need to get rid of stuff from my bookshelves. So it's like, anyway, like I don't have any room for the stuff that's in my like my very, very bottom shelf. I don't have room for that stuff, so it's like I don't want to, yeah, anyway. I do like it. I do. It's just the very, very top I'm not like loving. But let's get on into the bookshelf tour portion of the video. Alright guys, let's start off with the very top of my bookshelves. I have all of my TV shows and movies. A lot of them were given to me, like Fringe and Psych. The Harry Potter movies were given to me. We have The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And then we have the Spider-Man movies. Oh, and Star Wars, and we have a Ghibli film right there. And yeah, that's the first shelf. Okay, and then we have the second shelf. It's the start of the fiction shelf. We have some classics like Sense and Sensibility. I have some Bachman here. I have The Alchemist. I have some more classics like A Christmas Carol and then Crime and Punishment, which I absolutely hate. And then we have some John Green, some short stories of Tom Hanks, and then over here we have Crazy Rich Asians, and then we have other books that I did not mention. We have a mystery right here. Never read that. Have no idea what it's about. And then moving on down to the next shelf, we still have my general fiction, so like the classic novels, the realistic fiction, the contemporary literary fiction, what have you. And I didn't mention this, but all of my books are in alphabetical order. So we have the book of the year, apparently, which is called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. I have some other books that are more contemporary, some more classics like East of Eden, Grapes of Wrath, Huckleberry Finn. I have like a self-published book by a friend of mine, and I have some romances here. Here are some fake books. Here's an angel and a little container of angel things. And yeah, that's that shelf. And then moving on down on the same like bookshelf underneath like my general fiction, we have the start of my science fiction books. So we have a mix of science fiction, but we have, starting with like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then I, Robot, and then we have like some dystopian like The Handmaid's Tale, some Bradbury, I have Red Rising, I have some Octavia Butler, and then I have a bunch of Orson Scott Card books, because my parents are trying so hard to get me to love Orson Scott Card, but I just don't. We have some more dystopian like The Hunger Games, there's Leviathan Wakes, and then here are some books by a local author, like a Utah author, David Farland. These are like the Serpent books or something like that. Sadly, he has passed away, but he was a good friend of ours, and he was actually the author that taught Brandon Sanderson at BYU. Alright, and then the shelf down from that, sorry, it's a little dark on this side, especially since we have a book that is black over here, but it's a continuation of my science fiction. I have Daniel Green's book right here. I'm pretty sure it's science fiction. I genuinely don't actually know, but I'm pretty sure it's science fiction, so I'll put it here. And then we have this book called Found. I loved this when I was in elementary school, and I only read the first two books, but I really want to like find these books and like read the whole series. And then we have stuff from Heinlein, and then we have Dune. This is a paranormal kind of book. Some Le Guin. I have like The Chaos Walking Book 1, a book called Nemesis, and then we have, of course, Brandon Sanderson, because I love Brandon Sanderson. We have the Reckoner series, we have his Skyward series, and yeah. Alright, and then on the very bottom shelf of my, like, general fiction and science fiction bookshelf, we have the UK covers of Skyward. This is the first one. There's Starsight back there. I really want the rest of the series in the UK covers because I absolutely adore the UK covers. And then we have the book Scythe by Neil Shusterman. We have an Adam Silvera book, and we have this book that I got at a local used bookstore. So no, I did not steal it from the library. And we have this like we have The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. We have the like first Murderbot novella, which I'm really excited to read. I hear people love this book. And then a book called Neverness that my dad got me. And then Speak of the Devil. This is a book called de Bergerac by my dad. And like I mentioned, my bookshelves are in like alphabetical order, as you can see, except for this one because I totally forgot to put it in the section of bees. So yeah, and then there's my jewelry box. Okay, and then moving on to the second shelf, it's the start of my fantasy, basically, but on the very top, I have my graphic novels, and then my manga, and then a pineapple, and then my favorite collection of books that I have ever owned, which is the Peter Rabbit Library. I have like a crystal up here that my dad got me. Don't know if you can see that, but it's right there. And then I have a little turntable that my mom got me. Okay, and now here is the real start of my fantasy. We have some Joe Abercrombie, we have Senlin Ascends, we have the cozy Legends and Mates, and then we have some Lee Bardugo books, quite a few of them, honestly. And then we have the Bone Ships trilogy, or like the Tide Child trilogy. I haven't read this yet, but it looks really interesting. And then we have a fake plant, because I like fake things, apparently. If you've seen Lars and the Real Girl, there's like this line that Lars says of like, "It will never die, isn't that neat?" Anyway, this will never die. Isn't that neat? Alright, and then moving down, we have a variety of things, especially a variety of like YA and I think adult. But yeah, we have Willa of the Wood over here. Oh, and then there's Wizard of Oz. And, and then there's a book called Lore. We have some Carissa Broadbent right here. I have Elliot Brooks's book, which I still have yet to read, even though I bought it years ago. And then we have the Sisters Grimm books. I stopped reading it at book 7 because I thought that was the last book. Turns out it's not. And then more Scott Card. And then a middle grade series that my sister bought for me for, I think, my birthday that she really wanted me to read. Sounds super interesting. It's like called The School for Good and Evil, I think. Yeah, I will eventually read these sometime, just not sure when. Alright, and then coming back down, we have another variety of stuff. Here's a book called A Bright Heart, and then we have Wesley Chu's The Art of Prophecy, and then we have the Dark is Rising series that I haven't read before, and then here's Legendborn, and then The Tale of Despero. I love that book. We have a book called The Spell Shop that I recently just got. I think I talked about it at the very beginning of the video. And then we have some Neil Gaiman right here. We have, oh, by the way, this is really good, Silver in the Blood. I really enjoyed it. Jessica Day George. She's an underrated author for sure. And then I have One Dark Window, which I hear some really great things about, but then again, I'm not much of a romantasy reader, so we'll see. Then here's The Princess Bride. I have some more of Daniel Green's books, and then we have The Hurricane Wars, and then the complete illustrated edition of the Books of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin right here. Again, sorry about the lighting, it's kind of dark, but this is a cool chunkable. And then here is my new shrine to The Nightmare Before Christmas. I feel like it's a little less subtle than before, but it might not be subtle. I mean, it's obvious that it's a shrine. I mean, look, there's Jack, there's pumpkins, there's the freaking full script of The Nightmare Before Christmas. I have another, like, little Sally over there. I have 2 copies of the picture book. So yeah, here's that little shrine. Oh, and then I have some earrings that I will never wear because I don't have my ears pierced. So yeah, there's my little shrine. Alright guys, and here we have my very, very top shelf of my bookshelf, my fantasy bookshelves, I should say. I have all of Brandon Sanderson's secret novels. I have the Dragonsteel edition and the Tor edition, and I have it in every single one except for The Sunlit Man. I only have the Dragonsteel edition. And then these are the Mistborn bookends that I got at the Dragonsteel convention back in November, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, I thought it would be cool to put these here. I also didn't have anywhere else to put it, so this is where it is. And I thought it would also be cool to put it in like this edition next to this edition next to this, and so forth. So yeah, here is my little Sanderson display. Alright, and then coming down, we have some John Gwynne books. I am supposed to be reading this for a buddy read right now, and have I started it? No. Yeah, that's how that's going. And then I've read this series pretty good. I have some Shannon Hale books. I love the books of Bayern. The Goose Girl and Anna Burning were like my favorite. I also really love her Princess Academy book. And then I have this book. I think he's actually a local author as well, so that's cool. And then I have a middle grade here. We have Assassin's Apprentice, another middle grade. It's about cats. It's the Warrior series. I've only read this first one, but I adored it when I read it the first time because, you know, cats. And then we have, of course, we have Wheel of Time, haven't read it yet, and then A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And then coming down from there, we have a popular book, The God, or Just God Killer. I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. We have some Stephen King, and have I read any of them? No. I started reading this one, but I didn't finish it. I will get back to it eventually. And then we have some T. Kingfisher. We have some T.J. Klune. Even though I haven't read either of these books, they just sounded really interesting and I wanted to try it. I have Jade City. I have a middle grade here that I bought recently. I met this author of Daughter of the Pirate King at Barnes & Noble recently, and she recommended this book of hers, of course. And then Six Crimson Cranes, I have a book called We Ride the Storm. And then, of course, we have the first book of A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. Haven't watched the show, haven't even read the book either. And then, surprisingly, we have like some Peter Pan books like almost right next to each other. We have God of Neverland, we have a book called Unhooked, and both of these sounded interesting. I have read this one, but it's been a while. Haven't read The Last Magician, though. And then we have another fake plant, and then, of course, we have another pineapple, because people love to give me pineapples. Boop. And then coming down to the shelf below that, we have my Brandon Mole collection. So we have the Candy Shop War, we have Beyonders, the first book, and then of course we have the Fablehaven and then the sequel series to Fablehaven. Loved this when I was younger. And then, surprisingly, loved this even more than Fablehaven, the Five Kingdoms series. I read this when I was 22. Adored it. And then we have the Aurelian Cycle trilogy. We have Fireborn, Flamefall, Fury Song. Beautiful, beautiful trilogy. It's, you know, political fantasy, and it's so good. I have a middle grade right here, and then we have a Naomi Novik book right here. And then the shelf after that, we have a mixture of things, but we have another Naomi Novik book. We have a couple of James Patterson books. It's like the Witch and Wizard series. I've only read the first two books. I saw this Mordu book, and it looked really interesting, so I had to get it. I have a novella on Stranger Tides. We have a couple Terry Pratchett books. This one, The Color of Magic, is a Discworld book, and I really wanted to get into Discworld, so I got this recently. And then we have some Catherine Purdy books. I actually have an ARC from her because I actually went to her house because she's a local author as well, so I've met her. And then the author of Daughter of the Pirate King, when I met her at Barnes & Noble, she suggested to read this book, and so I bought it. And then we have some Rick Riordan books, so starting with Percy Jackson. I've tried to keep the Percy Jackson books together, so like the Chalice of the Gods, even though this takes place after the like Heroes of Olympus series, I still put it next to the Percy Jackson series. And then I also wanted to keep the series together, so I have this book. I have like kind of standalone, well, not necessarily standalone books, but just books that I only have one of, and I put them right here. So like Magnus Chase is here, the Hidden Oracle is right here. So yeah, and then coming down to the last shelf of this section of books, we have the rest of my Riordan books. So the Heroes of Olympus series is all together right here. I have some I cannot speak. I have some Margaret Rogerson, and then I have the Harry Potter series by She Who Shall Not Be Named. And yeah, that's that shelf. Okay, I'm gonna try and do the rest of this handheld because my tripod is annoying me. But here we come to the very, very last shelf of my fantasy shelves, and just my last shelves in general. So we have, over here, we have Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and then we have A River Enchanted, and then we have The Sacrifice by Kristen Catherine Rush. I've never read it, but my dad absolutely loves it. And then we have this book called The Antidote. Don't really remember it, but I liked it, I think. And then we have, of course, some Sanderson. We have a couple of The Arithmetist, and then going on into the Cosmere. And then we have here the Mistborn trilogy. I have a little plushie, and then another fake plant. And then here's a shell with my middle name on it, and then another little pineapple. And then the second era of Mistborn, we have 2 copies of that. Then we go to the next shelf, and we have some more Sanderson. We have, of course, the Stormlight Archive series. I have a deck of cards, and I have a little rock that says Strength on it. And I put it here because, you know, strength before weakness. And then we have my Schwab collection. And this is just a dust jacket because I'm reading this book right now. But yeah, we have A Darker Shade of Magic, we have The Fragile Threads of Power, and then some more V.E. Schwab, Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and then we have this chunky boy, The Priory of the Orange Tree. And then moving on to the second to last, well, third to last, technically. But we have some more fantasy, like Infinity Sun. We have some, like, oneers, so, like, I only have one book of each. This is the second book in a series. Don't know why I don't have the first one. Here's Levin Thumps. Vampirate series, only 2 of them. And then we have the Drowning Empire trilogy that I recently finished not that long ago. Super good. We have Daughters of the Moon Goddess. We have this duology, the Strange the Dreamer duology. I just read Strange the Dreamer and I loved it. If you cannot tell, I read it recently, so we have some, like, wearing on the sides already. And then Muse of Nightmares. And then here we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy. As you can see, I was reading Lord of the Rings, and I'm still trying to read it, but I just paused for a second. And then we have Andrew Watson's Harbinger of Justice here, and then The Black Prism, and then Witch King right there. Moving on down to the second to last shelf, I have, of course, a pineapple with some bookmarks in it, some candles. I have this little container full of, like, old letters that I've received from people, and then a new book that I saw that I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me, so it sounded really good. It's about murder and stuff like that. And then we have this, we have some Tad Williams, Ninth Reign, Rage of Dragons, another, like, technically Dave Farland, or, well, Dave Wolverton. I mentioned him earlier. He's the one who taught Brandon Sanderson, and then The 13th Child, and then another Sacrifice book that my dad got me. And then here's just the random stuff, like my religion texts. I have, like, photography books in there, and I have, like, my old yearbooks, and then some, like, old books. So yeah, that is that. So here we have it. Here's the wholeness of my bookshelves, if you wanted to see all of it, like, at once, kind of. It's kind of hard to get all of it since my room is kind of small, but here it is. And also, can we just appreciate this artwork that's on my wall? Thanks. Alright guys, that concludes my bookshelf tour. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys weren't too bored with it. I actually re-filmed the tour part of the video today because I just felt like it was too boring the first time, and it might be kind of boring this second time, but I am not re-recording it again. But again, hopefully you enjoyed it and it was a little bit fun for you to see all of my books and my new organization of my books. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys in my next video. Alright, bye!